Past the fourth turn by the barn where Mrs. Fullman lived till she passed on. There is a cottage by the lakeside where fairies come out at night. There's a music box in the bedroom.
Okay. Hey guys, what's up? Aw, there are some couples up here, which is really cute. This is a perfect view of the city. Sorry I'm disturbing y'all's date. I have a video to film. Hi, it's Jazzy Anne, and welcome back, Snacks. I need you to know that although I am giving you this advice, a lot of the time, I'm still very much figuring things out as I go. First question, do I think it's better to live in a dorm or an apartment? I think for your freshman year, living in a dorm is a really great opportunity, an easy way to make friends. Also, like, living on your own for the first time is very overwhelming. It's hard to mentally prepare for it because you're not actually ready for it until, like, you live by yourself. I think living in a dorm is very useful because usually there's a meal plan involved. I think it's also important to learn how to live with somebody else and share a room with someone. But I think, like, if you got a pretty good grasp on it, like, after freshman year, I think living in an apartment is ideal. How do you make friends in general, or how do you make friends in your classes, or just anywhere? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't feel confident in the friendships I was making until the end of my second semester of freshman year. Although I am a very naturally social person, it was still hard to feel like I was making genuine friendship. In high school, you see your friends every single day for multiple hours of the day. But in college, it's different because you have to make an effort to make friends. Everybody says it, but like, join different clubs and organizations that you are interested in. That is such an easy and natural way to start meeting people. Aside from all of that, my biggest advice for making friends, especially your freshman year, is to be friendly. And that sounds so simple, but friendliness seriously goes such a long way. Especially when you're a freshman, you need to remember that everybody around you is in the same boat. Most likely, everybody is looking for anyone to be their friend. If you're friendly to someone and they take that the wrong way, then that's on them. But I also do want to reiterate that freshman year can feel very tough. Although there are a lot of people around you, it is normal to question friendships and to wonder if you are actually making friends, you know? As long as you are putting yourself out there and being friendly and making an effort, it will pay off and you will start to see friendships naturally develop.
For long enough, you'll fall asleep and might wake up.
I'm sorry that we only got to do 2 questions with that amazing background. Let's continue. Emma's asking, is homesickness pretty common, or does everyone move past it pretty quick? Homesickness is very common. Where I go to school is only like a 3-hour drive from where I grew up, so I do have the ability to go home when I want. I'm purposely trying to make myself not go home as much this year so I can get used to living here, but like, I still get homesick, and I'm a sophomore. Because if you come from a comfortable place that you called home, and then you're just thrown into a brand new environment, like, of course you're going to feel homesick. Some people around you may get over it in a quicker amount of time than you, but don't ever feel bad about that, because you never know what other people's, like, home situations were like. Dealing with anxiety before an exam. That's a great question. I don't know. I get so anxious before exams too. I try to prepare myself as much as possible and just remind myself to breathe and just do my best. So while we're on the topic of mental health, I want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Do you ever feel like there's something there that you cannot really seem to explain or understand that's interfering with your happiness? Well, BetterHelp is here for you to ask, what do you need? And then match you with your own professional and licensed therapist. So this service is available to anybody worldwide. And because it's available worldwide, these licensed therapists are also worldwide. Basically, there's an extremely broad range in BetterHelp's counselor expertise. And it's the kind of thing that you honestly might not be able to find locally. I started going to regular therapy sessions my senior year in high school, and the kind of counselor you have makes such a difference on your experience. So I absolutely love that BetterHelp is committed to making sure that you are happy with your counselor, and so you can change your counselor anytime you want for whatever reason. Also, since it's online, it's available to you at any time. You can go ahead and send a message to your counselor, and you will get a well thought out response to help you with whatever you need. I know a lot of people that are interested in starting therapy feel like they can't because it's so expensive, but BetterHelp is more affordable than offline counseling and even provides financial aid if you need it. It is so important to check in with yourself because what you're feeling is valid, and somebody at BetterHelp wants you to understand what you're feeling and help you through it. So you can visit betterhelp.com/jazzy. That's better, HELP, to get 10% off your first month. Okay, back to the questions. Is college still worth it? I think so. I don't think I want to get extremely into it right now because I'm still in college, so I'm still feeling it out. But so far, yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth it if there's something that you're genuinely curious about learning about and being better at. You know? But at the same time, I think college is a scam. Like, both thoughts exist in my mind. Okay, is having your hometown best friend move in with you worth it? Okay, I mean, that really depends on your friendship. One of my really good friends, Miranda, recently transferred, and her and I have had a mutual conversation about this. And I love Miranda so much, but I don't think that we should live together. You can be friends with someone without necessarily wanting to live with them, just because you know it would be best for your friendship if you did not live together. Does that make sense? Be sure that you know yourself what you would prefer for a living situation. How do you make sure your mental health isn't declining? That's a great question because that's also something that I'm trying to be more mindful about and work on. The thing about mental health is it fluctuates a lot, and you can have times where like you are on top of the world and mental health is like not even on your mind because you're feeling so amazing. And then you can have the complete opposite. And you can have those feelings months apart from each other. You have to make an effort to check in with yourself. And you also have to make an effort to not be mean to yourself when you're feeling bad. I like to think that I am a positive person, and I very much make an effort to be positive in my videos because I think it makes a difference. But at the same time, like this ultimate positivity, having that, oftentimes if I'm feeling down, because it's so opposite, it can make it feel so much more worse. Any feeling I'm feeling is valid, and even if it is a little crappy, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're human. Our feelings are going to change frequently. So if you are having a solid month after month after month where you are just feeling like absolute shit and you cannot figure out why the crap you are feeling this way, first of all, I would encourage you to seek help, but also know and trust in yourself that feelings fluctuate. So you will not be feeling like that all the time. And sometimes it's hard to even see the bigger picture. I promise you that you will not always feel that way. How do I manage between social events and studying? That is a very great question. My freshman year, and sometimes I still do feel this, I felt like so much pressure to go to everything. But like from that, I've learned that you don't need to go to everything. Most of the time, you're not really missing out on anything. You need to prioritize different things. And it's hard. It's hard. But with practice, you get used to it. And you have to force yourself sometimes. Most of the time, social events are happening towards the end of the week anyways. So I would recommend do not procrastinate. Do your absolute best to get your work done ahead of time. But also, if you feel like you have so much work that you have absolutely no choice but to study on the weekend, get a study buddy. Just like being in someone else's company can make you feel so much better about the work you're doing. Even if you guys are literally not talking and are actually like being productive and studying, just being with someone is so nice sometimes. It makes a big difference. And it's just nice to see people. How do I manage my time? Time management is definitely the kind of thing that you have to practice. You have to get in the habit of practicing time management to get like used to it and know how to do it well. I am a very scheduled person. I like to write everything down. I have a physical planner. I like to make like like a checklist for each day. And I even write down like really small things like go to the store and buy a pencil. Like I literally wrote that down today. I even write down wake up because it makes me feel like I'm doing what I need to do. But that's what works for me. It helps me keep on top of things. Another thing I did, which is actually new for me this year, is I went through all of my classes for this semester and wrote down the due dates of like every important assignment and quiz and test, and I put it on a spreadsheet and I color coded it, and so far it's worked so well. It keeps me on top of my assignments and it helps me relax. While I am a very scheduled person, I also think it is very important to go with the flow and to not freak out if something does not go according to schedule, because most likely the schedule that you've written down for the day is not going to go exactly how you've planned. How often does the average college student cry? I don't have an exact number for you, but like it's a lot. There's a lot of stimulus in college that you are constantly around. Somebody asked, how do you find different parties to go to? I don't even know how I find out about them. Most of the time it's really random, and most of the time I find out about them like very last minute. But that's where like putting yourself out there comes in handy, because most likely you'll at least meet one person who's like, hey, do you want to come with me? Like, because I literally just need someone to come with me. Like, let's go, you know? Speaking of parties, are parties really worth the hype? Yes and no. Parties in college are fun. To an extent. Personally, I prefer small get-togethers where people can actually socialize versus like a rager. It's very hard to make connections with people at ragers. College parties are definitely overhyped, but I still think that they're a lot of fun. Okay, advice on essays. Have a very strong and intriguing first 2 sentences. It can even be a little over dramatic. My senior year, I went to my English teacher for help and advice because although I felt confident, I still wanted someone qualified in that field to read my essay. So don't be afraid to go to a teacher that you really trust and ask for some advice. Go up to them after class or something, or during lunch period, and be like, I would really love some feedback on my essay I'm sending into college. Do you have a certain time that you could go over this with me after school? Like that kind of deal, you know? Okay. So it's very easy to get emotionally overwhelmed. It's also very easy to not really understand why you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed. So just know, like, if you're crying, that's totally okay. Cry it out. This person's asking, is it overwhelming being on a big campus / a big city, or do you get used to it? My friends and I have realized this. Maybe it's just the University of Texas. Like, about 60,000 students go to this school. It does not feel like that. I always, like, find that I'm running into the same people often. If I meet someone or make a new friend, it is very common that they know someone that I know. So it just like makes it feel a lot smaller, which I'm so thankful for. I honestly did not expect that. It makes sense though. I think like the energy like you put out, you will naturally attract back. So it makes sense like that my friends like know some of my new friends. Like, you know, it makes sense to me. These two are kind of similar. How do you make time to take care of yourself while still staying on top of your schoolwork / like how do you balance studying with a normal life? You have to make an effort to take care of yourself. My freshman year, second semester, my mental health just kept plummeting and plummeting and plummeting. I didn't realize that like I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't spending like any of my free time like doing something that fuels me, like singing or drawing or like reading a book or like exercising. Basically, to answer your question, you just have to make an effort. And it may feel like you have absolutely no time to take care of yourself, but that's not an excuse. You come before schoolwork. And I know that sometimes that's hard to grasp, especially if you're in a very challenging major, but you can take at least 1 hour out of your day to go on a walk, or you can take 1 hour out of your day to read a book or draw or talk to a friend in person, face to face. 1 hour out of your day is not a huge amount of time, and it'll make such a difference. Not just because like you're not on your phone or whatever the crap. It'll make such a difference in the way you feel. My friend Catherine asked, what is something you wish someone had told you? I wish that someone would have told me that college can tend to feel very lonely at times, but I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. And I'm saying that while I still do have good friends that I enjoy spending time with, I'm honestly not even really sure what it is. I don't even think loneliness is the right word that I'm supposed to be using here. It's just that whenever you're growing up, it's a little hard to like understand everything you're feeling. It's so easy to forget that like what you're feeling, someone else is probably feeling too. Basically, like growing up, it is easy to feel lonely. But please know that no matter what you're feeling, you are never, ever, ever alone. So how do you keep going if you're not motivated? It always helps me to just get out of my room and go somewhere. Literally anywhere else other than where I live. If I just get up and go somewhere else, it helps me get what I need to get done. Is it okay to not want to make new friends and go to parties? I literally just want to chill in my dorm. Yeah, that's totally valid. There are so many days out of the week where I just don't really want to hang out with anyone. But like, if you only want to stay in your dorm because that's just what's more comfortable, I want to encourage you to go outside of your comfort zone and just meet new people. You have no idea who you could meet, and you have no idea how easily you could connect with some people. I am 100% a believer that sometimes they're just people you meet in your life, and for some reason, y'all just click, and you can't explain it. That happens. That definitely happens. How do you stay connected with your friends at home? I text my friends regularly, or even like Snapchat. It's not even like I'm texting them all the time about what I'm doing. It's just like every other day I will like send them a song that makes me that like made me think of them, or like if something happens and I'm like, oh, I just want to tell them. Like if it's just like something random, you know. I'm honestly not a huge FaceTime person. If I'm gonna FaceTime someone, I would prefer to like plan out when we're gonna FaceTime instead of it being like spontaneous. That's just like how I am personally. I know a lot of people love spontaneously calling their friends though, but it's very much just like you have to make an effort. Ooh, okay, this is a really good question. I think this applies to everybody. How do you decide what school to go to in the first place and what you want to major in? The school you go to is very dependent on how much money you're willing to spend. You also need to do the research on what good programs certain schools have. I also was very, very blessed in the sense in where my parents let me tour different schools around the country to see where I could actually picture myself. But if you don't have that opportunity, we have this wonderful thing called YouTube. People will post like random vlogs at their school, and you can kind of get a grasp of like what the vibe is there. How do you know what you're interested in? It's so ridiculous that people are expected to choose what they're interested in from such an early age, because your interests are bound to change. But for school purposes, just be honest with yourself. Like, what do you enjoy doing? If you go back to your childhood, before you really started school and stuff like that, like, what do you remember naturally being interested in? My brother Jordan, for example, like, he was a smart ass kid. Like, as soon as he came out of the womb, he was reading really early on, and he spent a lot of his free time like building stuff with Connects. Same with my brother Joshua. To me, that says like they're interested in like building, like creating. So they went into engineering. Like, figuring out what you're passionate about, what you're interested in, is very much a learning process. I'm still figuring out new things I'm very interested in that I didn't ever think I would like really think about. Be patient with yourself, be honest with yourself. So with anything, this is my personal opinion. You don't have to take anything I say. And I also want you to know that while I am giving you this advice, a lot of the advice is also for myself. And I'm very much not a perfect person, and there are a lot of things that we can always improve on. I don't want you to feel like I know absolutely everything, because a lot of this is still very much a learning process for me, and I'm still learning right now. I'm still learning things as we go. Anyways, the city's really pretty.
All the places in your dreams, are they fiction or memory? If you listen,
I wanna be your favorite boy. I wanna be the one that makes your day, the one you think about as you lie awake. I can't wait to be your number one. I'll be your biggest fan and you'll be mine, but I still wanna break your heart and make you cry.